On the 4th of February 2018, that is on Sunday, the Chitungwiza municipality flighted a notice of intention to evict illegal occupants and demolish illegal structures, and they called this phase 1 in a weekly newspaper. And following that, or in that publication, 110 properties were published as earmarked for demolition. And of the 110, most of these properties are in St. Mary's, specifically more than 97 houses of the 110 are in St. Mary's, and the rest are in Zengeza and Seke. So while efforts of engaging the municipality and other related stakeholders were in progress, the same list again of those properties that were published on 4 February were again published in a daily newspaper on Thursday, the 8th of February 2018. And to us, as the representatives of the residents of Chitungwiza and the affected families, it showed us the zeal that the local authority had in evicting the listed families. They gave them a 48-hour ultimatum and a deadline which is expiring tomorrow, the 11th of February. They said the affected families should have vacated the premises by the 11th of February. So I'll go now to, this is the background. I'll go now to the reasons why we contested, or why we decided to contest the decision or the notice of intention by the local authority. The first one is that the notice by council relies on an ancient colonial and out-of-date piece of legislation, which they call Section 18, subsection 2 and 3. I hope the learned colleagues will speak much to that section. But being not a lawyer myself, what I only noted was that this piece of legislation, the Urban Councils Act model, use and occupation of land and buildings by law of 1979. 1979. It's almost older than myself, this piece of legislation. I noted that it is outdated and not in line with the 2013 constitutional provisions. Secondly, why we decided to contest this was the perpetual violation of the Constitution by some institutions, unfortunately, including as well quasi-government institutions such as local authorities, in this case, Chitungwiza municipality. While we agree that some of the properties may be justified to be demolished, such as those that are in wetlands, under electricity pylons, near road servitudes, or on top of sewer lines, we are also contesting the timing of these intended house demolitions. We all know that we are during the rain season. It's actually raining today, and the council issues a notice to demolish people's houses during the rain season. We feel that this is aimed possibly at punishing the innocent occupants. Then the last reason on why we decided to contest is that council officials saw these properties being developed, but ignored some of these houses. Now that these houses, some of them are complete, they intend to demolish them. So the question that comes to mind is, why did the local authority not issue out stop development orders back then and only decide to demolish these properties when some of them are complete? I will leave to the two learned colleagues, possibly Belinda or Mr. Mandewere, to take us through the process in terms of how then we went through the legal process.
Thank you, Mr. Kumalo. We invite Mr. Marufu Mandewere of Mandewere and legal practitioner for human rights to just take us through. He's the lawyer who mainly dealt with the issue. Mr. Mandewere.
Thank you very much. This aspect I have not dealt it like yesterday when I received instructions. We dealt with the aspect of demolitions in 2014.
Yes, 2014.
Fortunately or unfortunately, it was also in February. So it's probably the winds of February that's are going on. So we did obtain a judgment from the then resident magistrate for Chitungwiza, Miss Gofa, in 2014, stopping the demolitions of houses in Chitungwiza. There were about five applicants, I think. Then Chitungwiza was still under an elected council. So Chitungwiza municipality had to heed the court order that they cannot demolish houses without going to court. So what we did now was just to advise the court that still there is a court order, there is a ruling that was made by you, the Chitungwiza Magistrate Court, that these guys cannot destroy houses without court orders. So we have obtained a court order stopping the demolitions. Fortunately, now Chitungwiza is being run by an acting town clerk who is a lawyer, I think.
Yes,
I hope they are going to heed the court orders and listen to what the court says. We have got a new constitution, and everyone knows that in terms of that constitution, demolitions of houses are not supposed to proceed without a court order. The court has to look at all issues relevant to an issue before it issues or it authorizes a municipality or anyone for that matter to demolish houses. And in this aspect, I've always said that a house is not built overnight. It takes serious levels, from ground level to the roof level to every other level. And Chitungwiza municipality was ignoring this whole process of development of houses, but only to wait for the rainy season to then start to evict people. That would be generally seriously gross, inhumane, and unlawful. This is what the aspect that the Constitution is trying to protect. And also it's coming from Operation Rambatsvina. This is why the people of Zimbabwe have to come up with a provision in the Constitution to say houses should not be demolished. And world over, the standard is that you cannot demolish a house unless you give that person an alternative accommodation. So it is my view that what Chitungwiza wanted to do is seriously unconstitutional, is seriously inhumane, and also that my view is that the Operation Restore Legacy must also restore the legacy of Chitungwiza municipality by restoring elected officials in Chitungwiza municipality, because we cannot have this serious issue being dealt with an elected officials who have outlived their term of offices, borrowed term of offices. I will hand over to...
Thank you, Maruf. Maybe I would ask you, so you were in court yesterday, and what transpired?
Yes, I was in court yesterday. Simply what I did was to say to the court, you are the same court which gave a ruling which I attached to the application, a well-reasoned ruling. And now these people want to demolish again. So I was at court. We waited up to 4 o'clock. The magistrate was so busy, but we waited up to 4 o'clock. And the magistrate went through the expert application. He issued the order without notice even to Chitungwiza municipality.
What did the order say? So?
The order says that pending the hearing of this case, which is going to go to court on the 13th of March, it says that the respondent, which is Chitungwiza municipality, be and is hereby ordered to refrain and desist from destroying and or authorizing or causing the demolition and or destruction of the first applicant's properties pending filing and decision of this matter. So that is stopped.
Thank you.
And
Marufu will share with you the application for those interested. Maybe I'll come to Mama. You can tell us briefly makabatikana sei now nenyaya
takanyanya kubatikana nenyaya iyi nekuti takatarisa mari takanyanya kubatikana nenyaya yekupwanyirwa. Takatanga kufunga mari dzatakabuditsa tisati tatanga kuvaka 1. Tikazobatikana nemari dzatakabuditsa zvamunoziva kuti inzi imba unotanga wachera foundation. Ukachera foundation munozovaka masimendi atakabuditsa dzimwe mari dzaunenge uchibuditsa. Wofunga futi kuti ndokanzi ndikupwanyirwa ndakuda kuendepi futi. Wofunga netime futi season yatiri iri kunaya. Plus chimwe chinhu chinobata ndechekuti vakauya vanhu kukanzuru vachiti takukupai makufanira unobhadhara kucancel. Zvanzi zvaita makufanira kubhadhara kucancel maiswa musystem. Ivo vachitora manems edu vakumaisa mumanewspapers zvatatisina tarisiro nazvo kuti ndo zvatatanzi tiitire tivape mazita edu nenhamba dzechitupa nekuita seise. Saka ndo zvimwe zvinhu zvazvikatibata.
Thank you. I think you have heard from Mama. She's one of the victims narrating issue yao. I think Kumalo, if you agree with me, so I get to the council we are very good to tackle regularize issues and then they were getting my names to say more newspaper like last week on say Sunday. And I'll hand over to Belinda. Belinda Chinawa is the manager of Zimbabwean for access to justice or public interest litigation. To just speak broadly on Makaite in Belinda.
As the LHR, from the inception of the new constitution in 2013 to now, we have vigorously defended clients against local authorities that try to demolish their houses in the absence of a court order. Despite the fact that Section 74 of the Constitution clearly states that you need a court order before you can demolish, local authorities routinely resort to colonial-era legislation to give them backing for demolishing houses in the absence of a court order. The High Court has numerous times stated that a court order is required before any demolition can be carried out. We actually have a pending challenge in the Supreme Court where we'd taken the city of Harare to court on a similar matter after they tried to evict, to demolish houses in Budiriro 4. So this is a principle that really cannot be contested by any right-thinking person. As the LHR, we're very encouraged by what the Chitungwiza Magistrates Court has done in issuing this interdict barring the demolition of houses in the absence of a court order. It restates what's already in the Constitution. And more importantly, as the third tier of government, local authorities have an obligation to respect, protect, and fulfill all the rights in the Constitution. It's not just central government which is supposed to give effect to the rights. Even local authorities have obligations towards citizens, towards residents, and towards ratepayers. So as the LHR, we will continue to defend the Constitution whenever it's under attack from local authorities, from private citizens, and from the state itself. Thank you.
Thank you, Belinda. Maybe briefly, Simbamoyo is with combined Harare residents. Association of residents of Beirut.
Also with the Zimbabwean human rights that citizens must be protected when their rights are under attack. So we continue to work with you and all progressive citizens of this country to defend the rights of citizens, to defend the rights of the residents of this country whenever those rights are under attack.
Thank you.
We have done this before successfully, so I think we can do it again successfully, defending the rights of citizens, together working with the Zimbabwean human rights.
Thank you, Simba. Are there any questions to the panel? Maybe later on, for those interested, they can have one-on-one interviews with the concerned parties. If there are any questions which you want clarified in here, you can. Ruru.
Maybe to Marvelous and to just a clarity and an explanation on how the residents got the stands, which are on sewer lines, which are also on power lines. How do they get the stands? And two, how then do you balance the issue of the constitution saying any eviction should be done after obtaining a court order, and people who settle on illegal land? Isn't there a gap in the constitution in terms of, then defending people that are lawfully settled?
Two questions, Marufo and Marvelous.
May I come in first? Okay. From the instructions that I have from my clients is that they were housing cooperatives. They got these properties from housing cooperatives. Which housing cooperatives were known to municipalities. As far as I know, the previous time that I asked the question, has there been a report by Chitungwiza municipality to the police that their land has been stolen? We have not seen that. So these are people who are innocent people, innocent third parties, who are genuinely pursuing to have a home, and they join a cooperative, which is constituted in terms of the laws of Zimbabwe. And according to them, they believe that these people are genuine people. It's not that they just walk one day and found themselves on these properties. It's people who saved their monies, they paid to these housing cooperatives all their savings. This is the instructions that I have. They've got details of their payments. Now they were called for regularization, as has been told. Some of them have paid their money for regularization with Chitungwiza municipality. So,
and just to come in on the question of whether there's a gap in the Constitution, what the Section 74 says is that a court order is made after considering all relevant circumstances. So what the court will do is the court will sit and consider how do these people get the land? Is there a possibility that they can get alternative land? Do they have children? Do they have schools nearby? So it's not that there's no recourse for the councils. For people that maybe are settled under electricity lines and pylons and so on, it's possible to evict them after you get a court order. And the reason that you have to get a court order is that the court, as an impartial arbiter, can sit and say, there's land in such and such a place. Can these people be relocated and given land elsewhere? Because to actually just demolish without giving them alternative accommodation, without considering that maybe some of them have schools, some of them maybe have to go to clinics in that area, would create undue hardship. So there is a balancing in that the court comes in between and tries to balance the rights of the residents and those of the council.
Yeah, and to us,
just to answer, Kuti, my residents are buying my cooperatives. How many receipts a Chitungwiza municipality? Shairati Zakuti, my cooperatives, our eyes in the Samaritan City Council.
Yeah. Just to answer as well on that, our interest as an association that represents the interests of Chitungwiza residents is not how they acquired these stands at this point in time. But we went to the area and realized that some of them have actually completed building their houses. And one of the roles of council is to stop the development of illegal processes, the development of illegal structures at the onset. So here there is an issue that council actually slept on duty because it did not issue out stop development orders when these people started constructing the concerned properties. And now council is coming in 4 years after, 5 years after, council is coming in and issuing now an intention to demolish these properties. So that is where now our interest is, to say, why now? Where have they been? They slept on duty. Or the other explanation possibly might be that now, in what is obtaining in our country, where we have factionalism elsewhere, in political parties, in government, and so forth. So we are saying possibly now, the residents that we represent are now pawns in a political game. They are now being used as pawns in a political game, where possibly some of these cooperatives, like Glory to Glory Housing Cooperative, which is cited as the second respondent in this application, possibly was linked to a certain faction that was defeated or that is now irrelevant, and possibly those that are in control now want to punish those that benefited through the previously powerful faction and so forth. So as representative of the residents, we will not stand while those that we represent are being victimized. We will always seek recourse in the via the legal routes.
Thank you.
Possibly before you come in, there was a question in terms of receipts.
Yeah, but am I wrapping to because am I covered?
Am I more Simbarenyu for the Ganya Anzi, Naru, might be over the
Panova kwa pese, council bylaws and not Panova inspection at every stage. My inspect when the entity Maputi cuts a new right.
Yeah, I don't go to work.
Tine ma-receipts pataibhadhara ataipiwa, then even iko kucancel tine ma-receipts futhi avakatipa ataibhadhara futhi kucancel, but zvema-stages kuti vakamboya chitasa every stage havana.
Saka makangu vakaimba ikapera without council inspection?
Yeah.
Chairman.
Thank you. I think the right to shelter is enshrined in the Constitution ought to be given a broad meaning, a broad interpretation. Shelter does not mean a properly finished house like this one. Shelter is shelter, even if it's a shake, that is shelter. So that right comes to everyone who has got shelter, meaning even a shake, even a hut, that is shelter. So what we are saying is when you have the right to shelter, you have the right to live where you are, and the government must, like you were saying, there must be a court order, there must hold this the investigation to say what happened and so forth, not just to come in and chase away someone because that person is living in a shake, or that person constructed a house on top of a power line, or that person did what was illegal. I think you will be committing an illegality. So we are saying these people are supposed to be where they are supposed to be. Whatever happens, we are not worried about that because they have the right to shelter. So if you want to remove them from where they are, first of all, you need to look into their circumstances, create alternative accommodation for these people because they are not animals. We are not talking about cats or rats which must be chased away. We are talking about human beings who have got rights.
Thank you, Chairman. I thank you, Rolu. You have been answered here.
The Residents Association, the two residents associations. Yes, you are saying council slept on duty, but I believe these people went and built their structures in areas that are not illegally. But what did you do to educate these residents, to empower them with information that what they were doing was wrong? Then my other question is directed to the lawyers. Suppose the courts, suppose the city of Chitungwiza go to court and they get that court order granting them the power to demolish. Will that be the end?
Thank you. Two questions. Marvelous.
Yeah. Yeah. As an association, we have a program in terms of empowering the citizens on how to legally acquire a property. And in our meetings, we have also took time to walk them through how they can obtain. But in the laws of the country, it is very legal to acquire a stand via a housing cooperative. Unfortunately now, the only thing that then becomes tricky is how do you then determine whether a housing cooperative is legally constituted or is illegal. I always give an example of travelers, the long distance travelers or those who travel to their rural areas. You get into a bus. There's no way before getting into that bus at Mbare Musika, you can go and ask the driver, do you have a driver's license? May I see it? You then inspect the tires if they suit the condition of certified vehicles to be used on public roads. Usually, the question that arises is, how much do you charge from here to possibly Vumbunu, or from Harare to Vumbunu, or to Gutu? Then we are told your fare. Then you possibly inspect the quality of the seats and so forth. Then you board the bus and you leave. So that is a question that also arises, and we feel that government and the local authorities have a duty, they are duty bound to then educate the residents, including residents associations, to say, how do you then see the legality, how do you check the legality of a housing corporation? Before the lawyers come in terms of the second question, remember earlier on I said, while we agree that some of the properties may be justified in terms of them being relocated, such as those in wetlands, those that are under electricity pylons, those that are near road servitudes, and those that are on top of sewer lines. But what makes us smell the red at this moment in time is the timing of the intention by the local authority to demolish these houses. I will not belabor the issue of the rain season that is before us. Thank you.
Before that, maybe I'm becoming also a politician and rather than more of a lawyer. I think, as I've said, Zimbabwe is Namuka Semota. These were very powerful people, from what I get. These guys who became land barons. We know that's the name that they've been given. They're not just ordinary citizens. I've seen so many beautiful places, open spaces, even in our rural area. That place that I really want to stay. And I cannot just come from here and say, now I'm a lawyer, you chief, and whatever, without going to the chief. And I don't think these are ordinary people who could just see and identify an open space and started to stay. You can't just do that. I have not even gathered the courage to go per open space and start building. These were very powerful people. You know, Bamba, they became Makanzelas, they were very powerful, and the land Bamba also, I think, is regularized. You get what I'm saying? These are we're not ordinary citizens. To then expect an ordinary citizen like when they were getting this, even when we see our court application, we've also said there was serious connivance with even one about Shandau Kanzur. Genuine. That's the allegations that they are giving in their court applications. That I will leave Belinda to say the other legal things, because some of these things really touch me. We all have families, we all have kids. And where do you want to go? We all know the disaster that was caused by Operation Number 3. We all know. So we cannot have a local authority or a government continue to do the same mistakes. I've heard the new president saying, we cannot continue to do the old mistakes. Let's have new mistakes.